Hey everybody, welcome to the Geek Reloading podcast. I am your host Adam, and as always, my co-host Josh.
Hello.
And you may have noticed last week an episode didn't launch. That's crazy, although not 100% not gonna ever happen. You know, like it happened one time last year, Josh. Is that right?
Yes. A little bit surprising, but not too surprising.
Yeah. And this one, you know what? Like, cards on the table, it just didn't pan out. Like, me and Josh were busy and we both were stressed and working out stuff, and when Josh was like, I'll try and figure out something, I was like, I can't figure out something. And then we just decided, you know what, we're gonna get a mulligan. We're just gonna do it next week.
Just can't do it. So hopefully we'll get a little bit better and get a few in the tank and ready just in case.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, you know, now that everything is starting to feel, it's weird, man. It feels like things are almost normal. You know, like it's not actually feeling normal, but it's almost normal.
It's almost normal.
Yeah, it's nice, but also it's created a little bit of chaos in our world and stuff, and it's been a little interesting.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is crazy to think about, but it's totally true.
Yeah, so I shared with Josh, but I mean, I haven't shared it with our listeners, but I redid my office. I got rid of my ridiculous desks that are IKEA table legs and everything, and I got a standing desk, and I love it. But I realized that my office, the one thing I didn't think about is that in the summer, because we haven't been here in the summer yet, dude, it's gonna get warm, like in like a bad warm. It's gonna get swampy if I don't figure out to get more AC through this vent, because right now, this might become a pantsless podcast. That's all I'm saying. It's a lot right now.
It's okay. It's all right until we start doing podcasting together at the same time.
Yeah, or video casting. I'll have to do just from the belly button up, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I will say some of our listeners might actually, you know, appreciate, you know, you being pantsless. So I'm not going to say no. I'm just putting it out there.
Aside from the attractiveness level, it's also just the fact that they'd be happy that I'm comfortable. I feel like my list.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly.
It'll be fun. Okay, so we have another a list, but this one was actually one that I think it came up because me and Josh were talking about a game I recently beat, and it was called Layers of Fear. And this game, it came out on Xbox ages ago for like Xbox Live Gold for Xbox One, right?
Oh yeah.
And I tried playing it, and literally the game itself is like 6 hours long.
It's kind of sad that way.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a cool like mind fuck of a game. It had a lot of like illusions, and you kind of are like, you're like losing your mind as you play and stuff. And that stuff was fun. It was a little repetitive for my taste, but I was literally hoping that the game would keep on progressing and add more and more to the story. But then like at the end, it's like, oh, this is the end. And I was like, oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. And like when you brought up this topic and we were just wanting to go with the whole two short games or wanted more of, like, my first thought was the game Firewatch, because it's only maybe 4 hours. Like if you're taking your time, I would say you could easily get through it in 2 and get everything that you wanted.
Sure.
But I realized, like, it was a good game. It was the length it should have been.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, wait a minute, this seems like it's kind of getting to the end. And then once it actually finished, I was like, oh, I don't really need more. I'm good. So I wanted to put that in there, but it's definitely not on this list. I think it's a good size.
Yeah, I think that there are a few that are kind of like that. The PS3, PS4 game Journey is only like 9 hours long at the most, maybe 7 to 8, honestly. And that one, it feels like it ended at the perfect time. It didn't feel overly worked. It didn't feel like they threw in a level just to have another level. And I appreciate that when it fits that way. So if Firewatch is that way, that's awesome. There was another one, Abzu, where you're in the water and you're doing like water exploration, almost the exact same as Journey practically, in that kind of relaxing flow kind of game. Same kind of thing, super short. I beat it in one sitting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a few, and some of them, they were too short. We wanted more, and some of them we were like almost disappointed at how short they were. Like one of them for me that I actually liked, a lot of people didn't, and I think it's because I went in with low expectations, and I went in after the game had been released for a while, so I knew why people were disappointed, was The Order 1886. Now, Josh, this was PS4. I don't think you played this, right?
I don't think I played this. I think I watched a couple videos on it, but, tell us.
Yeah, so this one is like it was supposed to be, it was like pitched in the trailer as like a supernatural, you're in the world in 1886 and steampunk stuff has like taken the world by storm. That was the revolution, was steampunk rather. Yeah. And in this world you have werewolves and vampires and all these supernatural creatures, right? Well, when the game actually came out, it was like a Gears of War clone, just like the most beautiful one that had ever been released. A lot of hiding, crouching, shooting, stuff like that, with very few supernatural enemies. And so people were super disappointed because it seemed like it was going to be really, really supernatural and fantasy based. And it was much more like very reality rooted in a lot of its themes and stuff. It was more like about political intrigue and stuff like that.
And there was wasn't there like a cult almost that was like that you were fighting against as well?
Yes. Yeah. And
so I did watch it.
And so when people were like super like disappointed by the fantastical, the one thing about it is, first off, it's super short, under 10 hours probably, but also it is a beautiful game. The game itself, came out early on in the PS4, Xbox One generation, and it was one of the prettiest games on the console by far, but it just pissed off all the right people in the worst possible way. And that's kind of how it came about to be like this bastard of a game, like that everyone kind of ignored. And dude, when I got it literally for $4. And I was like, I would have paid not 60, but I would have paid like 25 for it, and I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
I think that's a big part, is like the expectations of stuff. Like as soon as you like Dead Island, like they had the most beautiful trailer ever.
Yeah.
And then the game was just kind of a zombie game, like 3 or 4 others that were out at the exact same time. So it was kind of that disappointing. And so don't undersell, and then let people get pleasantly surprised. That's my thoughts.
I like your thinking. So, Josh, I may disagree with you on the next one.
Oh, okay.
Your first one. Explain yourself.
I had to put this on there. I put it first so I can just get it done and out of the way. So please feel free to rail on me if you need to. But the game that I wanted more of was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I just wanted more.
That's fair. Like, it wasn't too short of a game, but I did preface it that if you wanted more of the game, that counts as well. So that's fine. I did. Okay.
And I wanted, and I'm actually excited because they have Breath of the Wild 2. It's probably going to be the first game that I will consider. Nintendo doesn't really do pre-orders and stuff, but I will probably buy that game as soon as it comes out.
Now, the question is, do you think that game might come out with the new iteration of Switch? I'm hoping,
and I will buy a full new Switch with it. Honestly, I don't give a shit about it. I will, like, my thoughts, my rules have always been, I need 3 games to buy a system. I need to have 3 games that I'm dying to play before I buy a system. Switch is the first one that I was like, nope, I'm good. I want to buy this. I will buy this for Breath of the Wild. Like,
wow. Okay.
Granted, Mindy was wanting it, and I was like, yeah. And then I was like, I started playing Breath of the Wild, and I was like, I'm good. I even told Mindy, I was like, if we can find another Switch, you can buy it so you can actually play your own games. Because
she actually gets an opportunity to actually touch the Switch.
Yeah, the Breath of the Wild is just mine. And so I was considering playing it again, and Mindy was really into Animal Crossing last year, so we bought a second Switch then. And so yeah, we have 2 Switches. Both of us are not playing right now, but it's still good.
But once Breath of the Wild rolls out, one of those is going to get a lot of attention.
If Breath of the Wild 2 is like, oh yeah, we're going to come out with, the Switch Pro, I will be like, I have to buy this and it is mine. So let's just plan this out. Christmas, birthday, I don't care. Both, I don't care. I want it.
Okay,
but
fair.
that's what I'm saying is like Breath of the Wild was a game. It was long. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in it, and it's got the master mode and everything as well. I mean, it's a big game, and you can spend a lot of time in it. But I just wanted more. I wanted just everything more, everything, and I was just very happy with that. So now you can not be surprised that I came up with Breath of the Wild in a podcast.
I know. You know what's funny is that on one of our future episodes, I have like we have our list like we usually do, but then I have this whole section where I'm like, I've already talked about X, Y, and Z, so I'm not going to talk about those again. So after doing this for over a year, man, it's harder. It's harder not to just go back to the ones that have just like absolutely like made an impact. It's hard.
Yeah, and then my thing is I've kind of gotten to the point where it's like I haven't been playing a ton of games lately, so when there's a game that I have a lot to say about, I'm going to talk about it, because why not?
That's fair. That's fair. So the next one that I have mentioned both of these before, and so this one, it's every single time I've played one of these, I've wanted it to last longer, and I've enjoyed it because I've enjoyed it so much. Same kind of thing as you with the Breath of the Wild, but these are by Supermassive Games, and it's Until Dawn and Man of Medan. And then they have like the newest one. What is it, the Medium? No, it's not the Medium. But yeah, so these Supermassive Games, they're the choose your own adventure style. They're really well done. They're motion captured with actual actors. Each one of these is not super long. 10 to 14 hours, maybe,
I watched a playthrough for Until Dawn, and I think it was only 7 or 8 hours. It wasn't that long at all.
Yeah.
But it was really good story. I was really impressed.
Yeah. I love that there's a lot of replayability because you have multiple endings. Like, these are some of the first games that like most games, if I'm going to replay them, it's going to be like years later. And that's where I'll play it just to relive something. But these games, since there's so much change, so many different choices and changes you can do, and it'll decide who lives, who dies. Like the main characters you rode with the entire time the first time around might die immediately in the next few times, right? So like these were the first kind of games that I finished the game and I went, time to restart, and I'd start it right away again.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, I know what choice I'm going to make differently here and here and here.
Yeah.
Like, that was my thought, is when I was watching the playthrough, I was like, oh no, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do, see, that's why you shouldn't do this. And then, they didn't get a great ending, but then I watched a couple of the other endings and I was like, see, I'll bet you money that's the choice there. So
yep.
I can definitely see that. So
yeah. So it looks like, so they set it up essentially each one to be kind of like a movie. Until Dawn is its own isolated story, but the Man of Medan is part of the Dark Pictures anthology, and there's two more, House of Ashes and Little Hope. Little Hope is already out, I believe, but House of Ashes is not. So that just means I got to play more games. That's all. That's
kind of cool. That is seriously cool, especially like when you find games that that you like, and oh, hey, here's a sequel.
Yeah,
like that's always fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the next one, again, you can yell at me on this one, but I was really thinking about it. I was talking to a nurse at a hospital, and he got me thinking about it, and I realized my next one is Animal Crossing. Now,
okay,
let me define this, because like Mindy has kind of stopped playing, and I realized there are 3 big pushes, like 3 things that you rush to, and then there's nothing really. And that's one, you rush to get your house all paid off.
Fully upgraded and paid off.
Yeah, fully upgraded and paid off. Then you rush to collect everything. Bugs, everything, just you collect. And usually the third one is usually during everything, but like it's kind of the end thing is to make everything perfect. Like get your house just the way you want it.
Yeah, it's like building the roads and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, just making everything perfect for you. And once you get to that point, this game that's supposed to last to always becomes a chore. And like I was talking to this nurse, and he was just like, I don't know, it became a chore after a while. And I realized that's what it became for Mindy. And when I played it, like I did not get any of those ending. I kind of saw the ending come towards me, and I was like, I think I'm good not playing anymore.
Yeah.
But that's really what it is. It's like you have these big pushes, and that's really exciting in the beginning, and then it's kind of like, okay, I've got to get on for an hour. I mean, even our buddy from UTG, like Josh, he just was like, I hop on for like a half hour every day and I'm done. Like, that's it. And that was like a year ago. It was so quick because he's a badass and he just goes through the game really quick. But it just got to the point where it just becomes rote.
Yeah. I think that, so I actually agree with this one, but it's not Animal Crossing City Folk. I wish that it was perpetual on the original GameCube Animal Crossing, because I feel like I never got into City Folk or New Leaf or New Horizons or whatever, because I just couldn't get into any of the extra stuff. I just wanted literally the basic little village experience. But as soon as you pay off your house and stuff, then it's like
you're done. Like there's nothing else to do.
Pretty much done. Like, that's one thing I can appreciate, how hard they worked to add seasonal updates and things like that, because it does, like, every season, every holiday, it's worth it at least jumping in. But what's hard is that if you've been off for a couple months, you don't want to have that guilt of, oh, my town's gone to shit. Oh, everyone's going to give me shit for not being around. All that kind of stuff.
I'll say, like, at least in New Horizons, that's actually not bad, because it's kind of like you have some of your, villagers that are like, oh, we've missed you. Like, but it's not much more than that. It's more just like, hey, I'm so glad to see you. We've missed you. And then it's done. Then it's like you've never left. Like, so, you got to pull the weeds, but that's all Animal Crossings. If you're not on there, you got to pull weeds.
Okay. Okay.
So, all right. Anyways, so the next one, when you put this on there, I was like, I think I know what that is. I looked it up and I was like, holy shit, you were so right.
Yeah. Like, this one was a weird one, but I immediately thought of it.
Oh, and as soon as I saw what it was, I was like, oh, you're right. Absolutely. I agree with this. I wish I had put it on here.
Yeah, well, you can just join me, just like I joined you with Animal Crossing. So this one was I think it launched with PS2, didn't it?
It did, PS2.
Okay, so this was a PS2 launch title, or at least close to the launch. It was made by Square Enix, and it was The Bouncer, which was the weirdest beat 'em up game ever made, I think. I really honestly think. It's just so random, because, like, You're one of three bouncers that are essentially River City Ransom style, helping the main bouncer get back his girlfriend, but it was all 3D overhead and side-scrolling, almost side-scrolling style. But you could actually do like combos and stuff, and
like
it was
big combos. Like, yeah, they were super cool. Now let's get the first thing that came to my mind when I was remembered about this is. Mm-hmm. The main bouncer looking for his girlfriend, he looks like his outfit is like the quintessential, like, businessman. This is what hip teens look like.
Yes.
And everyone else is normal in that game. Like, everyone else.
No, because there's that one guy who's covered in all the tattoos too.
But still, like, tattoos, like, yeah, he was covered with tattoos, but didn't he just have like a tank top on and like some like leather like jeans and stuff?
No,
like,
he had a sexy tank top on.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, it was Sion, Ko, and Volt. Volt was the big blonde-haired dude with like the weird bell-bottom white pants, who had the Cactar jacket on.
Which was always so freaking cool. But no, like the Sion, I think, was the main.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, he looked like they took Cloud for the hair, they took Titus for his pants, and then they took like the biggest giant weird ass jacket they could find in Japanese style at that time, and threw it all together, and then made this guy a fighter. Like,
yeah.
He's so weird looking because he also looks like he's like half the size and a skinny little runt compared to everyone else around him.
Yeah.
So like when I saw him, like immediately I was like, what is this clown that I'm fighting with as? Like,
yeah, he literally has a dog bone collar, and he's got like super baggy shorts, I believe. Is that what he's wearing? Weird ass shorts?
I kind of wonder if they are the lederhosen, like Titus. Honestly, I think they do, because I don't think he's wearing a shirt.
He's wearing an open hoodie. It's zipped open. He's got a big old double dog bone necklace.
Yeah, he's got the giant hoodie on that looks like it would just be hot and uncomfortable.
If he looks like Titus from Final Fantasy X and Sora from Kingdom Hearts boned and had an illegitimate baby. That's exactly what it looked like.
Okay. That's who I was missing, is Sora. That is the missing piece. It looks like Titus and Sora's baby. Like, yeah. He just looks weird. That gameplay though was fun as all hell. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was janky, but once you got good at it, it was
just fun.
So good.
It was, and it was just so much fun. But yeah, that game was like what, 10 hours long, maybe?
Yeah.
If you took your time. And there's not like a lot of stuff you could do off to the side. It was just like run through, go punch people, and be done. Like,
pretty much. Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
It was like peak Japan anime. We're just gonna add the weirdest costumes and tattoos in 1999 that we think will look cool. Like, that was the entire thing.
It was, and it was like it really seemed like there was some guy in a very proper business suit looking at Japan fashion and like literally just picking out 8 or 9 things and saying, oh well, we've also done this, so let's look at, these other characters that we've done and bring in It's just weird. It
was weird, but it was fun. Like,
it was fun, and it was way too short.
Yeah, I just remember playing it and going, I want more. That game was too quick.
Well, and see, I think if I remember correctly, I think there was like a sequel that was like touted, and it was like it was going to be a bigger thing, and like it was like one of the main things they were going to do is make it longer. Like, really put in a lot more like customization and make it quite a bit longer, and then it just kind of fizzled out. So yeah, I can't remember, but I want to say that was the thing, because I finished it and then I was like, that was really cool. I want to play again, but I don't really want to play the same game. I want more. Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, so I'm glad that you knew it too, because me trying to describe, he looks like he's got a dog bone. His friend's got spikes on his head, and he's blonde haired, and another guy's covered in tattoos. I don't know. It wouldn't have been. I'm glad you get it. Anybody, guys, if you haven't played it or if you haven't seen it, just look up some gameplay. It was way fun.
It was fun, but yeah, the main character just weird. Anyways, yes. So my next one is Assassin's Creed 3. Now, I was the biggest Assassin's Creed fanboy. Like, honestly, it was top 3 favorite games, like the series. I grouped them all together, and 1 was okay, 2 was amazing, 3 and all those, just 2 like had multiple games and I loved all of them, and then Assassin's Creed 3 was amazing because all of a sudden it connected me to points and places that I understood and knew. And this was another thing where Mindy was able to sit next to me and be like, I've been down this road. Like, if you turn this way, it's right next to the water. And we just walk around the different towns. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting when you can actually experience something that's from your real world in that setting.
Yeah. And just like, I don't know, like I really enjoyed that game. But that was the last one that I was like Black Flag was good, but it's not really of the storyline, the normal storyline, in my opinion. Because I always thought the normal storyline was outside of the Animus. And so that was kind of the tying factor of all these stories. And so I was all into it, and then it just stops at Assassin's Creed 3. And so that's why I wanted to put it on here, because I wanted more. I wanted more of being inside the Animus with Connor, and I wanted more with just everything that way. I just wanted more.
Interesting. I never got into it, but now I should probably go back and play it. I have almost all the Assassin's Creed games. I should play them.
You know what? Like, honestly, Assassin's Creed 2 is probably my favorite. Those were where it became a favorite game of mine.
Yeah, I've heard you should just skip the first one.
I actually really like the first one, and it actually gives a good basis to a lot of the lore, and it's probably got the best storyline in the outside of the Animus, and like actually connecting with that character. It's kind of interesting. I actually really like that part.
Interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind.
So,
okay, so this one I'm just gonna skim past because I've said it before. I'm not gonna say it again. It was Star Fox 64. Fucking so short that I literally beat it in one night, and my 13-year-old self was super disappointed.
Yeah,
that's it.
And there was a lot of, because it was so short and it was your only game, it was a big deal.
It was a big old bummer. It was one of the only two that I had, and I could have chosen a different game. I had that and GoldenEye, and GoldenEye is only fun if you have multiplayer and once you beat the campaign, and I didn't have friends. We didn't have friends at the time. It's fine. Anyway, so that's what happened.
We did. We weren't all big gamers at the time, so.
True. Facts. Okay, well, so Josh.
We weren't gaming together.
Yeah, so speaking of 64, I have another one. Okay, so I have another one for 64 that was too short, and it's only because I was all in on Pokemon when it came out, and it was like almost not targeted towards me because it was around like, I want to say I was on the tail end of like the demographic they were trying to hit. But when Pokemon Snap came out, that game was fun as shit, and it was so entertaining. It was awesome that they had tie-ins to the other, like the TV show and everything. I loved everything about it, and it's one of the shortest games ever, and it's all about replaying through the same areas, but it's a rail shooter, but you're using a camera instead. And so I got tired of doing it all the time, but it's a fun game, but it was short for me when it comes to the replay value.
Yeah, and that's fair. I've heard a lot of good things, like talk to Mindy about it and all that, but even the new one is supposed to be way too short.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a remake, so it's pretty much the same, but it has some unlockable stuff, I think.
Okay, so my next one, I erased because I realized there's a better game than the one I had before. I put on there before Portal, but I haven't actually played Portal 2, so I can't really talk.
Oh.
So, well, I've played it, I just haven't finished it completely.
Sure.
But I realized the game that I should have put on here was State of Decay. So, like, State of Decay was an Xbox arcade game. It was like $15, and it was so much fun because it was like you're this guy. You start out in the forest, in the mountains, where you're on this big camping trip, and all of a sudden there's zombies, and so you're like trying to get to different places, like with a zombie apocalypse just starting and everything. And then you start building like bases and stuff, and like getting people at your base, and start building that. That game was so much fun, and I was so into it, and then it just ended, and I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Like, I need more. Like, I still have stuff to do. I still want to do stuff. Like, that game was so much fun that way. I still have not played State of Decay 2. I bought it. I have it. I just haven't gotten around to play it. It's just one of those things. Maybe
you need to give that a shot, and hopefully it'll have more for you. Like, it's nice. Honestly, I'd rather have a game end early and me want more than have a game that slogs through and I'm like, oh my god, just get me past this area, wrap up the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And there's plenty of games like that, but it is die a hero or live long enough to become the villain, and I think that's a big thing with media and stuff.
Nice. Okay, so you have one more.
My last one is Mirror's Edge, and this game, it was so pretty. It was like running around doing parkour in an iPhone. It was so amazing. It was just pretty. It was just all white and shiny, but the storyline was really good and it was really interesting, and it got really difficult towards the end, and I really was enjoying it, and then it ended and I was like, oh, I'm kind of sad about that. So I just had to put that on there.
That's fair. That's fair. That game is one that I feel like is it's a gem. It's a hidden gem that a lot of people haven't played. I got through most of the first one on PS3, I want to say. And once again, mechanics feel wonky at first, but once you get them, it is so fun to play.
It is. It kind of takes you a while to get used to first person parkour. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is it's a first person game. I should be able to shoot people.
Right.
I should be able to shoot people. But that's not the game. Like, it's a parkour game. Like, your whole concept is to get away from, and as soon as you get that in your head, because it took me a long time to get that into my head.
Sure.
I wanted to beat up everyone. I wanted to attack everyone. And as soon as you realize, screw that guy, he can shoot at me from way down there and I'll never even have to look at him again if I just go this route. It is amazing, because just the speed that you can get going, and just, oh, it's so much fun that way. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It was a good one, man. It was a way good one.
It really was.
Okay.
I think that's it.
That's our list of games that were too short or games that we wanted more of. And it's something that, this was a fun one mostly because I feel like these games are short enough that if we want to go back and play them, we can totally go back and play them.
Yeah,
so
really
that's
quick.
Something to look forward to. I mean, I
wonder if the bouncer is somewhere we can access.
Dude, I might have it. I still have my PS2. I might have the bouncer. I'm not sure.
I know, but it's like, is it on like Steam somewhere or something like that?
Oh.
So,
I mean,
somewhere like maybe got a little bit of a facelift, maybe.
Right.
Because
I'm far from one to be like, oh, the only true way is to play it on the original console. Nah, bitch, mods are dope. Let's do that.
Like, seriously, sometimes it's so much better. Hey, we're going to give you the same game. It's going to be the exact same thing, but better controls and save states.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm all about that shit.
All that kind of shit, it makes the world go round and way, way better. Anyway,
right.
That's our entire list, right?
Yes, that is. And thank you for putting up with us missing last week. We feel kind of bad, but both of us were not in the headspace. So
yeah, but we have talked about a few different ideas and we're excited for a few of them. We're trying, this summer coming up is kind of like, it's a way that we can kind of experiment. I have something that I haven't even fully told Josh yet about that I'm excited to release, but I'm going to see if I can get it all lined up before I do that. So I'm going to tell Josh about it right after this episode, and that'll keep your suspense, all 25 people of you that listen to our podcast religiously. You guys are dope. We love all of you.
We appreciate you a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, so we will try and stay on top of everything else. We hope you guys are doing great. We missed you, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Geek Reloading Podcast with Adam and Josh. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have a question? Email us at geekreloading@gmail.com. Theme song titled Rocket by Kevin MacLeod. You can rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast service.